better than me is Mike Yeung and my son, Chris. So Mike told me he likes me, but he likes my son better. It's just like Donald Trump. He likes his kids better. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to summarize what I've learned. I'm going to try to talk slower, because if I talk at his speed, you can only comprehend 10%. So I'm going to talk slower, you can hopefully comprehend 50%. Now, as Mike has said, endoscopic spine surgery is now mainstream care. And he proved that by operating under local anesthesia, which I've been doing since 1991, endoscopically. It is now a philosophy and a technique that is staged. That means I could be a Shaolin master in martial arts, and I can also be a philosopher like Confucius. You combine the two and you do what's best for your patient. So what I started in 1991 has now evolved to what we call an endoscopic treatment of pathoanatomy, intradiscal, femoral, axillary, and going into the epidural space, which evolved from Dr. Cameron, who was my teacher. So from 1997 to 2019, I trademarked the GUESS technique, with full transforaminal decompression under local anesthesia that has evolved consistently over the last 20 years to a staged procedure. So if you treat the pain, it's not like treating cancer, diabetes. You treat pain and nobody ever died of pain. But if they want the result, if you go to somebody like Cho Kim and Mike Wong or my son, they can guarantee the result. So I call this a full endoscopic, transforaminal, translaminar procedure as a targeted decompression for all areas of the spine, cervical, thoracic, lumbar. And 10 years ago, I started looking at my own data and I call it staged results. Every 5 years, my results get better and I take on more difficult cases. So I have over 11,000 surgeries for full transforaminal endoscopic discectomy under local anesthesia, not even general. And I got FDA approval for what we call the US endoscopic system. I became integrated vertically because I opened the first ASC for spine in 1998. And so that's what allowed me to have a lot of flexibility. I now have over 155 level 3 to 5 evidence-based procedures, and I emphasize safety, accountability, patient satisfaction, patient choice, and then add surgeon warranty, and call that integrity in the free market. Integrity means that if you don't get better, it's like warranting a car. You don't like it, you get your money back. So I just finished a focus journal where Dr. Lewandowski and I were the editors. And I liked Mike so much that I invited him to contribute to that issue. And he has an article on ERAS in the article. But for what I do, and my son does, we call that integrity-inspired warranty, meaning you are so confident that you can get the result. If you don't get what the patient wants, you get them the money back. How many people can do that in surgery? So the table of contents, we now have 34 articles that is coming out this month. It's mostly contributed by experts in the US, China, Korea, Japan, who are major competitors and contributors. The Germans, they don't know how to handle the fact that the Chinese and the Asians are more effective and smart, so we don't have any of their articles. But this issue contains key opinion leaders, editorials, opinion articles, clinical research articles, bibliometric and metastatic analysis of summaries, and then at the very end, opinion surveys, mostly from Asian surgeons. So healthcare is a worldwide problem. I think the US is having a big problem because we have the Democrats, the Republicans, the president, and then you see all the stuff that drops down from the top. These are the people who are being affected. And we call this the swamp in the US. But you have corruption problems in every country. And here, President Steve is handling corruption to the point where people cannot go to Dongguan anymore because it's considered corrupt. So while we have the swamp in America, we have communism or socialism versus capitalism, progressive versus traditional, but we need integrity of the stakeholders, which means if you offer a procedure to your patient, guarantee it or you're giving their money back. So here's, when I started, the first 10 years, these are people from barrels, especially neurosurgeons. I hate neurosurgeons because I taught them how to do endoscopic, and they came after me by just not wanting to believe. But I finally became a believer because I staged my endoscopic platform. That means this is me. I suffered for 3 years of pain getting progressively worse. My MRI is on the left. I have multimodal herniation, central, foraminal, extraforaminal, and I also have degenerative spondylolisthesis. I asked my son to operate on me under local anesthesia, completely awake. And here I am, I'm more than 5 years post-op. Okay? So that's why Mike Wong likes my son better than me, because he can do what I started. Now, I was one of the first ones to use laser after it became FDA approved. That has given me the flexibility to use the laser as a tool. And if you combine the results with laser that's done with a blind technique versus endoscopic visualization, look at the concept of the Kaplan-Meier survivability analysis. I can double or triple the results by using an endoscope. You decompress the disc first and then replace it with whatever material that you have, which Mike is doing. But he costs more than I do because he depends on BMP and all the other things. I don't depend on any of that. So eventually, though, I will adopt him as my younger son. I don't know who is younger, Chris or Mike, but I'm gonna, instead of Wong, I'm gonna name him Yeung, the younger brother. So I take care of the people that was taken care of by Chris's mentor. And this is Meany Burton, he's in Phoenix. He is now my patient, and I operated on him after he was told by his mentor, Watkins, that you can't have any more surgery, you have everything that can be done. But I've been doing endoscopic surgery on him. And so motivation is very important when you pick the right patient. If you compare that with professional athletes, they have no reason to not be as successful as you can make them. And the reason I did that is I started recording everything that I did on digital. I started with VHS, beta, high definition VHS, and now I have a $77,000 recorder that I can show my technique live on the internet. So the technology has gone that far. Now, I got the word that I was being kicked out. You know, like you work with a country for a company for a long time, they give you a gold watch, that means time to go. So last year I got my gold-plated scope.
尊敬的各位来宾，本次会议即将开始。尊敬。
I'm out of time? No? Okay, so, but I teamed up with Kai Lewandowski. He started as a Harvard researcher, and he knows statistics. So we combined with this issue, and I have published on my 5-year results, but I really started over 10 years ago in 2003, reviewing my cases. A lot of my fellows are already in the audience. But my conclusion is this: if you do transforaminal, that is the safest and least invasive. If you do inside out versus outside in, Zoya, he does outside in. The results are the same, but inside out has more advantage because you also take care of what's inside the disc, intradiscal. So now I have published on my 5-year results on degenerative and isthmic spondylolisthesis, and the results are better than open. Now, but here's the problem. Those of the people I train, the ones who are not surgeons, are the most anxious to operate, but they're the least qualified. So I published suggestions for training, and I say everyone can do it. I don't care if you're traditional medicine or if you're a surgeon, but you need a surgeon to guide you. What I do, I call disruptive, and I call disparative. Disruptive means if you can't do it, I'm disrupting your thinking. If I do it, I'm also disparative. Disparative means that if you can't do it, you may either be against it, you can accept it, or you can be like Mike. You're going to have a different way of evaluating, a better way to do it with Esperol and BMP and all these other aids. But I don't use BMP. When I did, I got into more trouble. So I don't use Esperol. If they can't put up with the pain and I can't do it, I'm not good enough to do it. So I say nobody will die of pain. So if you compare what we do as surgeons, we are like Yao Ming in China. Nobody can reach your level, but we strive for that. And then in China and everywhere else, if you have the money, like Zifeng Zhang sent me a patient, paid me $20,000 because he only wanted me. And he said, well, you go to Dr. Yeung because he's my teacher. So he came and he wanted to spend 2 weeks. He was much better, but that was a very easy case that Zifeng could have done. So now instead of becoming a general in the Chinese army, he wants to go into private practice. So, and then everything is business connected. Here's Lou Dobbs on the business side, and here's Bill Walton on the professional athlete side. All I have to do is guarantee the result. So the business factor, I've studied that. In Arizona, I know the numbers. The cost of providing care is more than what Medicare provides at 70%.